Okay, guys. Well, it's Baku, which means it's going to be chaos out there. So, Logan, this is a learning experience for you, mate. Just stay out of trouble. Keep your nose clean and intact. And, K-Mag, you can score points out there today, mate. Just don't drive up the back of anybody else, please. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. We are about to have the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now, if you haven't seen qualifying yet, there's a little linky thing up there. Click on that, it'll take you through to the qualifying episode. But, well, it was a little bit of drama, not so much in qualifying, but before qualifying, because Magnussen picked himself up a grid penalty for running up the back of Vettel. He did a Ricardo on Verstappen, except this wasn't Vettel's fault. This was very much K-Mag's fault. So we need to come up with a strategy here that will work for us. Medium to hard is probably sensible for Sargeant because, you know, he's Logan Sargeant and he is still not quite at the level for tyre wear where we need him. I'm tempted to go a little bit more aggressive with K-Mag. Now, the reason I'm thinking he's not going to quite get there, it doesn't quite work, does it? The soft doesn't quite work because it doesn't quite reach the pit window. So it's conservative, but we're going to go with it. Now, one thing I am going to do is we're going to attack from the start, particularly with fuel. The reason for that is that there's almost certainly going to be safety cars. If you crash here, a safety car of some sort is going to come out, which will let us then conserve fuel. So we're going to start 12th and 14th. Let's see how we can do. All right, so it's Verstappen Leclerc on the front row again. Looks like Perez is there in third. We will jump on board with one of our drivers as soon as we get the chance. It's going to be, let's go with Kate. Oh, they're right behind each other, aren't they? So let's go with Sargeant, because we'll be able to keep an eye on K-Mag in front of us. As long as we don't run up the back of him, that'll be nice. And there we go. K-Mag has gone up a position to 11th.
Okay, good job, Kev. That's one.
Let's go overtake. Let's go overtake. Come on, boys. Sargeant, can he get a car in front here? The McLaren is very, very slow on the inside. Does Norris have damage, I wonder?
You're doing a good job.
Can we get him up the inside? Go on, Logan. Go on, Logan. Oh, he is. He's up to 11th. So we are 10th and 11th. If we can, so notice probably still on the inside. There he is. And Logan gets it done. Wonderful. This is wonderful stuff. All right, so let's just go back to neutral now. The race is going to settle down a little bit. And, well, that has gone as perfect as it could do. 10th and 11th. We've moved up off the start line. And, yeah, well, now we just do have to kind of settle in, don't we? So what we might do is we'll go back to this view. And with the two white dots there, of course. Back of the top 10. And we'll wait for DRS to become available, at which point things will liven up a little bit, I would imagine. But if Sargeant can just stick on the back there of Magnussen, DRS is now enabled. So let's see what we can do now with that. If we go and have a look at K-Mag, he's got Bottas in front. Now, there's a little bit of a gap behind Sargeant. He's actually got Guan Yu Zhou out of DRS, which is obviously excellent. What I don't want to do is burn through the ERS too early on here. Russell looks like he's the problem in front. We've got Bottas, Alonso, then in front of that is Russell, and there's not DRS in front of him, as Magnussen almost replicates his free practice form there. So this is, I mean, this is good. Is this potentially double points? It's such a shame that K-Mag lost those 3 places off the grid, because if he had started 9th, you suspect, well, he may well find himself still behind Russell, but he'd be a lot more close to the back of Russell. Oh! Well, I'm thinking that's actually a crash that hasn't quite happened there. So let's go back to balance now with our fuel consumption. It might be a part of the race now where we've just got to sit in a DRS train, conserve. I don't want to conserve too much because I don't want to lose the back of Bottas, which we actually are in a little bit of danger of doing just here. But as long as we get DRS up this main straight, it should be fine. And we are still within that second just now. So we should have DRS. Sargeant is still tagging along behind us, which is good. He'll get DRS as well. Not quite sure where the detection point is. I'm assuming it's coming in or out of that last corner. But Well, yeah, here we go. DRS line is there. We both got it. And that's the problem with this track, is that it's very difficult to drop cars. Now, we're obviously feeling the benefit of that just now. But you just get towed along that front straight and then this back straight here. And cars can just draft straight up to the back of you again. Which is why I say I think maybe we just conserve what we have. And then if we find ourselves in a position where we have sort of free air in front, then we can kind of just burn through stuff a little bit. But I think the main thing right now, look at this under brakes. So much better into that turn 4 there, I think, isn't it? No, turn 3. That is definitely a place where we might be able to get some overtaking done. But again, if we're kind of stuck in this Russell train, I wonder if we do try and get some overtakes done down that front straight. If we just go deploy and then we can harvest again and sort of sit in behind Alonso. Because we are losing touch with the cars in front. Now, how good are we? Are we any better than 7th? You'd say on this form possibly not. Though, is the problem Russell or is the problem the Mercedes? In which case, is potentially Hamilton someone we could go after? But you suspect maybe Sainz, who got a grid penalty as well, and Gasly might have something to say about that. Alright, so we are going to deploy.
Mode push.
And we'll just overtake with Sargeant, because we don't necessarily want Sargeant overtaking Magnussen just now. But we are going to have a bit of a crack here and see what we can do. We're not really making gains, are we, though? It's usually the end of the straight where you start to see the benefit of it. We've got Bottas going defensive. Is there anything going to happen? We're going to have to be very, very late on the brakes here to swoop around the outside. And we've seen K-Mag do it before, though. It was at Miami where he pulled off a wonderful move. It might have even been on Bottas, actually. We'll give it this back straight. I'm not sure K-Mag's taken the ideal line into there, but anyway, that's fine. And here we go again. Oh, Bottas just blocking us off. And it looks as though that might be the end of that attack. So we'll just go back to neutral and neutral. And we'll try again next lap. Okay, so it actually recharged itself pretty good around the lap. So we're going to go again and have another crack here. We'll try and burn a bit more petrol at the end of the straight as well, not do the lift and coast. I'm a little bit worried Sargeant is almost losing touch. He's 9/10 behind, so he's still in within the second to get DRS. But it's slightly concerning. It looks as though Bottas is going to have a real crack at the end, at the back of Alonso here, though, as well. And there we go. We're closing at the end of that straight. Now, can we go and have a proper go at them at the end of this one? This is where we look most likely, isn't it? But you just wonder if we're just a little ways back. He doesn't have DRS, does he? Bottas does not have DRS, and we might even get 2 cars here, you know. Go stick out the inside of Russell as well, mate. No, not quite, but a good move to get past Bottas. Is he still there? He is. Go away, please, Valtteri. And that should be job done there. Nicely done. Sargeant is just about hanging on to the back. I mean, to be fair, Sargeant is actually doing an absolute incredible job to be able to hang on to the back of these cars and these drivers. I mean, this is not what I was expecting from him this season. So, I mean, if he does lose touch, that's absolutely fine. He is out achieving what I thought he would be able to do massively here. So we've recharged, and we're going to have another go here now at the Mercedes, who does seem to be a bit of a cork in the bottle, doesn't he? So let's go back to deploy.
Mode push.
And let's see if K-Mag can get rid of George Russell now. And Sargeant is right behind Valtteri Bottas here as well. So we could have double overtakes for the Haas's, all things being equal. Let's go a little bit of push there at the end of the straight. Again, I'm not too worried about the petrol just yet because we will almost certainly have a safety car. Can we go and getting down the outside? K-Mag not quite. And is that his chance for the lap gone? And what's happened there? Someone's locked up. Ocon has got himself a penalty, so I suspect he might be the lock-up. Multiple cars have crashed. And, well, what's happening here now? We've got past Bottas. He's going to have a go at K-Mac as well. They weren't supposed to do that, Logan. Well, we're battling still side by side. I'd rather we weren't doing this, guys. If I'm honest. Don't fight your teammate. Where's that? I couldn't figure out what's happening there, but it was Sargeant having a go at Magnussen. A little bit overconfidence there, Logan. Know your place.
Try to do some lifting coasting.
Yeah, you're just supposed to just stay behind him, mate. Just stay behind him and don't do anything silly. But there we go. So we have got both cars in the points. We've actually dropped Bottas behind as well. Bottas does not have DRS on the back of Logan Sargeant just now. So this is wonderful, wonderful stuff. And we might... not that I'm concerned about petrol, but I just wonder if maybe we need a couple of laps of just sit here and wait. Alright, so we are just going around. We're 10 laps in. Sargeant and Bottas are in a little bit of a battle. They've dropped off the back of the Russell Alonso Magnussen scrap. Actually, looks like Russell's put his foot down now and is having a bit of a runaway. Let's see if Magnussen, let's jump back on board here. Can he go and get Russell? Alonso, sorry. No, he has got Alonso. So he's up into P8. We've missed that. We'll see if we can catch a replay, though I suspect we kind of know what happened. Alonso didn't have DRS. Magnussen did. There's the Sargeant-Bottas battle behind. And yeah, I mean, it was easy, wasn't it? He just drove straight past him. Easy as you like. So let's see now if he can go and get Russell. The issue is that there's not much point in actually using the energy and the tyres and the petrol and that to go and try and get him, because like I said, with the DRS the way it is at this track, it's very difficult to pull away unless you're really, really that much quicker. And you tend to just burn it and not actually get anywhere. The one thing that we might be able to do is if we can get him into turn 3, that almost gives us a lap then. So maybe in that case, if we go full deploy and try and break the second barrier. But to be a second a lap faster than a Mercedes is a big ask, isn't it? So, yeah, we'll just, again, we'll kind of sit here and wait, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then that's fine. Magnussen, is he going to go and get him here, though? He has driven straight past him. So, I said we'd do it if we could. Let's go full attack for a lap. And, of course, I'm a little bit worried that Magnussen's going to go and stick it in a wall with the full attack, but we'll see if we can. We've got 8, 9 tenths. This might actually work out perfectly for us. Alonso has been passed by Bottas, so Sargeant is just losing the back of it. We'll put him on push as well.
We'll go to high fuel now.
How close? He's relatively close, so he's still in that battle. The actual thing there. Oh, we've got a safety car. We've got a safety car, so we will back everybody off. Now we've got to think... what do we do in terms of pitch strategy? How far out are we? 7 laps. So it's too early, isn't it?
Safety car deployed.
Okay, so let's think about this. It's too early to get to the end. We can't get to the end yet. It's 7 laps to our pit window, and we're only just going to get there on a one-stop anyway. The issue is, it's a twofold issue. Are we going to get another safety car, which would help us get to the end? And the answer to that is probably. If we don't make a pit stop, we're going to then have to come in 7 laps' time and almost certainly fall to the back of the field. So I think we have to take the risk, don't we? We stick on the hard. In theory, it can do 50 laps, which gets us to the end, doesn't it? So... yeah, so in theory, it can get it. It should be fine. All right. So we'll come in with both cars, and hopefully, my logic is sound. So it doesn't look like anybody else is stopping. K-Mag's stop was relatively quick. So we've come back out in 11th and 12th. And so everybody else is going to have to stop at least once, aren't they? So we may very well find ourselves first and second at this race in not too long a time. Okay, so safety car is ending. We are currently 2.5, 3 seconds off the leader.
Safety cars going in.
They are going to have to stop surely in the next few laps. What tyres are they all on? Soft and mediums. So there's ourselves, Tsunoda, Vettel, and maybe Zoe and Ocon, it looks like, that have gone for this let's try and get to the end strategy. We're going to attack on the tyres for the first little bit, just to try and make sure that we don't lose out at the start here. I actually wonder if we go deploy, and see if we can actually... No, we don't need to do that. That's silly. We don't need to do that, because all these cars have to stop anyway. We don't need to attack. We should actually probably be trying to save the tyres as well. Because we don't need to overtake them. You know what I mean? We're going to overtake them when they stop anyway. The one that we need to watch maybe a little bit is Tsunoda. And we're going to overtake Norris anyway. So there we go. Have some of that, Lando. But we just need to be sensible here.
Okay, nice work.
Are we realistically going to win the race? No. I mean, the Red Bulls and Ferraris as well, I would imagine, are quite a bit quicker than us. But everybody else... I mean, we're at least as quick as, aren't we? Maybe Hamilton. But if he's a whole pit stop behind, is he going to be quick enough? Again, I don't know if he is. This, surely, with DRS, is going to be a slam dunk. DRS pops open now. We pull out. Everybody's in the pits. There goes Alonso into the pit, so we don't need to worry about that. And we are now running 6th and 7th. Did Norris pit? He did. Now, if everybody else pits next lap, Tsunoda is the one, because he's already stopped as well. He's annoyingly hanging on to the back of us. Now, everybody else should pit. Maybe one of the Mercedes won't. No, they're not going to. Tsunoda has got past Logan Sargeant. Now, after Tsunoda destroyed our race in Monaco, I'll be annoyed if he does something similar here, I've got to say. Come on, Sargeant. Get him back, mate. Get him back. He does. Okay. So this is now looking... Can we pull out a bit of a gap? The problem is that Sargeant's lost the back of Magnussen, isn't he? He's over a second. So if he can just keep Tsunoda busy, to be honest, that's absolutely fine. They're probably going to go back and forth. Whoever has DRS will get the overtake done. And there's some more stops being made. And did Tsunoda stop? No, he's still there. So Verstappen is now behind Logan Sargeant. Now that's probably not going to last for too long, as Magnussen is first in the Grand Prix and Sargeant is second. We are running 1-2 in Azerbaijan. Somebody take a screenshot quickly. So there we go. It is 1-2. Sargeant is unlikely to keep Verstappen behind him for long. He's not doing too bad of a job. Verstappen has now got past him. I suspect Leclerc will do something similar. But let's just go and enjoy running up front with K-Mag. And I mean, we've officially led a lap now. There's nothing that anybody can do to take this away from us. We have led the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's just a wonderful thing, isn't it? Tyres are getting a little warm, but I mean, we're not going to back off anymore. If we look at the projection here, we are not going to quite make it. So we might need to back it off a little bit at some point. But this isn't that point, is it? This isn't that point. First in the Grand Prix. So Verstappen has got Magnussen. That was always going to happen. If we look at last lap times, we're doing 49.4s and 49.4s. So they're both doing similar lap times. Sainz, Perez behind are in the 48s. So 47s, yeah. So it's Ocon down. Ocon is sort of a bit of a cork in the bottle. We're entering low fuel range. All right, Magnussen. Now, we talked about this last episode. When the little red gas can lights up, you need to conserve some petrol for me, mate. And yeah, I mean, we are just over halfway. A little bit more than just over halfway.
Okay, more lift and coast, please.
If Ocon can hold cars back, he is very much the cork in the bottle. And I tell you what, Sargeant is doing a decent job. Magnussen in 3rd, Sargeant in 6th. He is a long way off the pace of the cars that are with him. I mean, if once they get past him, he's not going to do anything in terms of catching them again. But it looks like Perez has now escaped. But if he can stay in front of Tsunoda, I'll be absolutely delighted with him. And the longer, of course, he holds up Sainz, then that gives Magnussen a little bit more breathing space as well. Now, to be fair to Magnussen, he's not 49 fours to 40. Yeah, no, he is quite a bit slower. How are we doing on tyre life? We are trending the wrong way of that line, aren't we? If we can get a safety car that we can sort of back right off, that might be all we need to get us over the line here. Sargeant still there in 6th. Ocon has been he's been overtaken by everybody, so it makes me a little bit concerned. Sargeant is not going to quite hang on here to get his points. But K-Mag still right now hanging onto a podium finish. Now again, I don't think he's going to get there, and we are building up a little bit of petrol in the bank for the end of the race as well. But Sargeant's going toe-to-toe with Yuki Tsunoda, and that's absolutely brilliant. Magnussen is, he's off the podium as Perez has nicked past him. Where's he got that move done? Oh, so at turn 3, then on the inside of turn 4. And, yeah, I mean, there's no point really trying to fight a Red Bull because that's not a fight we're going to win. If he can use the DRS, though, to get towed around, then that actually might keep him in 4th, you know. The longer, again, the longer he can stay with Perez, then the better. Now, we should have DRS there to drag back up to the back. Oh, has he lost it? He might have lost it. Tsunoda is pit. So that's not great for Sargeant, because he's now going to become a sitting duck for those other cars that are around him. And Magnussen has lost the back of Perez. So if Sargeant, can you hold cars back? Use your DRS to defend. And if we can use him to try and protect Magnussen, basically. And that hasn't worked. And Hamilton got past him. Oh, he's got him back. That's really, with 10 laps to go, Sargeant overtakes Hamilton. We should probably watch this for prosperity's sake. But this is what he needs to do, isn't it? If he loses a spot up the front straight, he needs to stay close, not panic, and then just get it back down the back straight. So that's really mature driving, shall we say, by Logan Sargeant there. And he's still in 6th. Let's have a bit of a look and see how he's going to go here. Bottas, Gasly, and Russell are also there. But there's a big gap then back to Ocon in 11th. So he is actually right on for points here. Only probably a point. Right on for point here. Hamilton's having a big look at him. 10 laps to go. And he's better off just letting go and then getting back, mate. Let him go, then getting back. Come on. We'll send it back to neutral, but he should be able to get this done. Should he not? Go on. Oh, maybe we should have left him on defend. Shouldn't have interfered. And it looks like Sainz has got past and is pulling away a little bit from K-Mag. But K-Mag's got a decent gap. He's got 14 seconds over Hamilton with, what, 8 laps to go. Okay, let's go and use your petrol, Logan. Now, he's getting actually quite critical on tyre life. To the point where I wonder... I wonder if we start looking at him. You're trying to finish. You're trying to finish 10th here, Logan.
Race position gained for
That's
Mercedes.
what I think we want him to do, isn't it? Is just finish 10th. This... Was that say it was low on petrol? I missed...
Try to do some lift and coast.
I missed what his issue was. So K-Mag still 13.5 seconds ahead of Hamilton. He is still looking quite good for 5th place here, which is amazing. 6 laps to go.
remaining.
Sargeant is almost certainly... The problem's going to be Tsunoda, isn't it? Tsunoda's going to be on soft tyres and flying. Yeah, that's going to be our problem. 12 seconds is now the gap to
Try to
Hamilton.
do some lift and
Does anybody
coast
else
and
hear
then focus
Shark,
on Apex.
what's it called? Jaws music in the background for K-Mag. But again, he should be fine. Oh, you can't do that. You're not allowed to overtake there, mate. Oh, what? How has Tsunoda done that? Well, that's a piss-off. Yuki!
That's a position gained for Alpha Tauri. Let's take a look at the replay. Now let's look
How?
at this. The focus on
Oh, Logan, you're too nice, mate. Stick him in the wall. You can't allow that to happen. That is really, really disappointing.
To charge on.
I mean, Yuki's absolutely flying. He's already out of DRS. Then we don't have any battery to defend here from Gasly, and this might be us out of the points. They're queuing up too. Alonso, Ocon, Norris, they're all behind us.
4 laps remaining.
And yeah, it might just be a case of what might have been with Sargeant. He's so close to points. 3, is it 4? No, 4 laps to go, isn't it? We should do the 51st lap. He's doing such a good job to defend his position.
Charge on.
Got a little bit of charge here, a little bit more. Let's go defend. Oh, he's got a really good run out of there, has Gasly, and that is P11. Well, if he can stay with him, if he can try and stay with him, we'll just have to go neutral now. His tyres are gone. He sort of hit the cliff.
Alpha Tauri.
And I get the feeling that it's just not quite worked out for Sargeant, has it? So maybe what we should have done is mix the strategies and yeah, if we'd mixed the strategies, perhaps he would have had a little bit more luck. We've had a
So
crash.
Verstappen crashed out
Is it
of the
K-Mag? It's not K-Mag, is it? Verstappen has crashed. On the final lap, Verstappen has crashed out of the lead.
Red Bull.
He's done a Yuki Tsunoda into the wall. I'm assuming Yuki Tsunoda's now. He's done everything.
News for the team.
So, is that safety car? What is happening here, game? It's the last lap of the race. Verstappen has kept going, has he? How's he kept going? So Leclerc wins the Grand Prix. We've got Sargeant right behind Norris. I mean, that ultimately doesn't matter. But what does matter is K-Mag coming around. He's the gap to Hamilton is down to 6 seconds. He was catching him, but I'm going to say a nice little bit of strategy. For once, the safety car, I think, more or less worked in our favour. And we are limping across the line, unless he gets a blowout here, which I wouldn't put it past us with our luck in more. But there it is. K-Mag, big points. I think it's the best finish. It's P5 in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Go on, K-Mag. More like it, mate. Much more like it.
Awesome job.
So there we go. 7 positions. K-Mag comes in 7th. And in the end, Sargeant 14th, which is up. Let's be honest, 14th for Sargeant is absolutely fine. The disappointing thing, Tsunoda got all the way back up to 9th in the end. The disappointing thing is that he was up as high as 6th after sort of pit stops that played out a little bit. Yeah, I think the problem is that because he doesn't have the technical attributes to keep the tyres, I possibly should have kept him out because he was running in or around the top 10 anyway. So yeah, maybe that was That was my bad. But anyway, K-Mag up to 8th in the championship now, 29 points ahead of Fernando Alonso. And in the constructors, we find ourselves in 6th. We've pulled out that gap a little bit more on AlphaTauri now, which is excellent. And we're only 3 points behind Alpine as well. So if you've enjoyed that, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. I believe the next race is Canada. So yeah, leave me your feedback from this one. Did I get the strategy maybe a little bit wrong? Anyway, I'll see you next time for, I think, the Canadian Grand Prix. Take care.